Hello and welcome to the Pretty Good Gaming Podcast. My name is Mr. Gareth Evans. I'm joined by Mr. Henry. Look out, there's a face hugger behind you there, Cooper. How's it going?
I was going to try and make an alien noise, but I'm not going to put people's ears through that.
As you can see, we're still in isolation here. Henry's at his own home
alien
there.
Isolation, if you will.
Wow, you set that up, didn't you? You've had
Definitely
all week.
Not.
You've had all week to prepare that joke.
Yeah.
But anyway, hello and welcome to podcast number 55 from the confines of our own homes. Hello, our Crossati podcast. We've pimped egg pimp. Did get the official formalities out of the way. So we're on lockdown here, as you can see. But we've improved the camera since last week, so there's a bonus.
Mm-hmm. The faces are still the same, unfortunately, but
you can see your beautiful face that much more clearer now, Henry.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's a good thing.
Make sure you don't crack the lens on that camera I borrowed you.
Right, should we talk about some gaming stuff?
Let's do gaming stuff. So today, the running order is as follows. First up, Henry's going to be talking about Doom Eternal, because he has been playing it.
As if you haven't heard enough of me talking about that already.
We all love it now. We all love it, thanks to you. Next up, I'm going to be running down my kind of a new segment, right? So I call it the Peroni Plague Survivor Guide. And this is going to be part one of my survival guide. I'm going to introduce you to a bunch of games I've been trying out this week. Just talk about games, essentially, what you might want to play yourselves during the lockdown of your own. So after that, we're going to be moving on to the Patreon questions, which are pretty damn good this week. After that, we'll be taking a triggered fanboy comment of the week. And oh my God, have we got a beast?
It's a long one.
Yeah, it is a long one. After that, we're taking some regular YouTube comments and then a bad dad joke of the week to finish up. We have more time this week, so hopefully we won't be rushed before we finish. Basically, have to cast aside a couple of the segments like we did last week. So hopefully that won't happen this week because we have more freedom in isolation. But there we go. Let's move on. Doom Eternal first, please, Mr. Henry.
So I've made a bunch of videos.
Was it good?
About
Did you like it?
I liked it a lot, but I'm learning more and more that a lot of people didn't, but I guess I'll get onto that. I finished it last night, completed it. I don't really know how long it took me, but people have been saying it takes 15 hours, and that feels about right. And I'm not very good at it, so it probably took a little bit longer. There was a bunch of people complaining, you're playing on console, you're like anything playing Doom without a mouse and keyboard, you call yourself a real gamer. And I'm just like, I don't give a fuck. And people saying, your gameplay shit. I'm like, yeah, I also don't give a fuck.
It doesn't matter how good you are, they have fun as matters.
Exactly.
Right?
But conversely around that, people saying your gameplay shit, a bunch of people also complaining that there's all these new mechanics, like you have to chainsaw people to get ammo, and there's very, very little around the world. So it's like, well, you're complaining it's too hard, and then you lot are complaining that my gameplay's not very good. You can't fucking win with these idiots. But yeah, so I've been playing on PC. No, PC, God, that'd make them happy. Fucking slip up there. I've been playing on PS4, and if you don't like it, sorry, I'm not making you play it, but just get over it. Anyway, back to it being more challenging, which is kind of the first thing that really struck me, is that it's not significantly harder, but it forces you down a specific path, and a lot of people don't like that because Doom 2016 was a bit more free because it was a bit easier. Like, you could kill any enemy with any weapon pretty much, but in this one it's not only encouraged but required that you switch out all your weapons all the time and go in for the chainsaw kills and the glory kills and stuff like that, because those are specific mechanics. I talked about a lot of this earlier in the week anyway. But yeah, a lot of people don't seem to like that, but I really do. I like the more strategic and mechanical focus. It is less run and gunny, and so a couple people complained that the game is arcadey, but I'm like, well, have you ever played a Doom game before? I mean, all Doom games are arcade shooters, really.
Just to clarify, what was the difficulty level that you played?
My rule of thumb is I'll just go for whatever the default setting is. So I think this time it was called Hurt Me Plenty, which is certainly fetishizing the pain. And I did still die a lot because, as I said, I'm not very good. But there's loads of difficulty modes. There's Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare and shit. But yeah, my rule of thumb is I'll always play on whatever the default one is first, and then go back if I ever do a second playthrough, and then crank it up a bit. which I probably will do, because some of the encounters were totally fine, and others I just got battered the entire time. Marauders, they're the ones. So they're essentially the guys you've seen in some of the trailers, where they're like,
got a big shield, don't they? And you can't just get past them.
Yeah, they've got these huge horns and a shield which blocks everything. It's impossible to break. Other shields in the game can be overloaded with the plasma rifle, but that one you can't break. So that blocks everything. Then if you get too close, they shotgun you, which doesn't just do loads of damage, it also blasts you away. And then if you're too far away, which you are now because you've just been shotgunned, they send like this energy slash at you from their axe. So you
slash of energy.
But you've got to stand right in that little sweet spot. And then you've got to have really good reaction times, because their eyes glow, so luckily it is telegraphed. And they swing at you, so you've got to shoot them. And fighting them on their own, it's fine, but normally there's a bunch of other little pricks trying to mess you up. And the point of the little guys there isn't that they're supposed to be a threat. They're there just to farm resources. So like, if you run out of ammo, go chainsaw them. If you run out of health, go glory kill them. But goddamn, Marauders can get in the bin, man. They suck. They're quite fun to fight when it goes well, but it very rarely does for me, because I'm not very good, as I said. But as I said, I really like these new mechanical focus, the new mechanical focus on it, and like forcing you down a certain path. And I get that a lot of people aren't going to like that. They're not going to like that they can't play in the way they want to, which will just be run and gun, super shotgun the whole way, or rocket launcher the whole way, or whatever. I like that. I get that a lot of people don't, and some people are saying that's kind of restricting your freedom, but I don't really think it is. I think it makes it tighter in and that's at the expense of, if you don't like that tighter experience, the game isn't for you, and you will prefer Doom 2016. But if you do like that, what they've gone for, it's much, much, much better done in Doom Eternal. So I guess that's just a personal preference. The other thing that really strikes me this time is there is a significant amount of story, and a bunch of people have been complaining about that as well, saying it gets in the way and all that. When I don't agree with that comment at all. There's a bunch of like text logs which you can read, and a lot of them are very extensive, and they're really wordy as well. Like, it's the hell priests did this, and there's this guy with this name, and it's all that kind of crap. But then there's also cutscenes. But the thing is with the cutscenes, they interrupt your gameplay, but you can skip them. Every single one you can skip straight away, so that's just a non-problem at that point.
Yeah, because if it's there, you can just skip it. If you don't like them, it's getting in the way. Well, it's not in the way if you can just skip.
Use the ability they've given you and skip it. But I quite enjoy the cutscenes, not because the story is good, but because it sort of isn't. Like, it's cheesy as hell. Like I said, there's a name for everything and a story behind everything. You can learn why the Cacodemon is like the way the Cacodemon is. That's the big floating eyeball one. Yeah. But it's really, really cheesy and stupid. And there's an excellent bit where, like, it's very near the beginning. You walk into a room with these two hell priests, and they're saying, "We're gonna ruin your day. We're gonna take over the world. We're demons. We're gonna do this. We can do that." And Doomslayer just cocks his shotgun, and they run away screaming. It's silly. It's not meant to be taken serious. I compare it to movies like old 80s action movies like RoboCop or Commando or stupid films, really, in terms of what their story is. But because that's not the point. The point is to have a good time and watch people get blown up. The story's just there as a justification for that.
Yeah, exactly.
So I've had a great time with it. It's fun. It's silly. I haven't touched any of the multiplayer yet, and that is my plan to get to it, especially because I'm sort of thinking about doing a proper review, and I should sample at least some of the multiplayer, but I haven't got around to it yet. Yeah. And now's getting to choke time where I have to do it now before Resident Evil 3 comes out in I think less than 2 weeks now. I think it's out. I can't remember.
It's on the 3rd, right?
Yeah, so really not very long. And then there's Final Fantasy 7, and then shortly after that it's The Last of Us. It's just never-ending games for this little period. We've had such a drought. But all in all, I really like Doom Eternal. I think it does Doom, or at least modern Doom, it does Doom better than Doom 2016 did, if that makes sense. And that's why I like it. It's better at the fundamental shooting, and it's a bigger version of Doom 2016. And if you didn't like having to change weapons because you ran out of ammo or whatever, and you couldn't just run and gun it in 2016, you won't like Eternal. That's fine. Don't have to like it. 9s and 10s out of 10s from From media outlets, I don't think I agree with. It's certainly an 8, easily an 8. But there's little things that just are frustrating. Like the platforming, that's really not that much of an issue for me because, sometimes it doesn't work, but you respawn instantly and you can just do it again. None of it broke the experience for me. When it gets broken is when I feel, and again, this is probably due to me being shit, but it's when I feel like I'm unfairly beaten. Like I get caught on a bit of geometry and I'm like, there's nothing I can do here. Like, what do you want from me? But I had a great time, and I definitely recommend it if you want a fast, arcadey first-person shooter. Yeah, that's going to challenge you. It is challenging because it forces you to play the way it wants you to.
They did change the formula a little bit. They added a little bit more spice into the ingredients this time, and they varied up the gameplay a little bit. And for fans of the 2016 version, because there were so many of them, like people were hailing that game as one of the best reimagines of a game ever. Right, Doom 2016 comes along, gets this huge new following. Like Doom is brilliant. Eagerly anticipating Doom Eternal, and then when you find that maybe they've changed the formula a little bit on what made 2016 such a great game, that's for fans that are just looking for that original 2016 experience again. They didn't quite find it because the pacing's a little bit different, right? Because you've got the platforming sections. There's a few niggles here and there. Obviously you got to play a little bit differently because you got to be you've got to farm all the resources in a different way, in a lot more like a thoughtful way than you used to in the 2016 one. So it is a variation, and I would rather games iterate rather than just reverberate.
If I want to play like Doom 2016, I can play Doom 2016. I don't need that again. So I'm absolutely right. I'd rather them change it up, and if I don't like it, I can go back to the other one.
Yeah, well, even if you don't like it, I mean, the principle of trying to improve and trying to change things up a little bit is one to be acknowledged and admired, I think, because there's so many games that just do the same shit year on year, and we don't have to name names. We all know them off the top of our heads.
And it's definitely
but a little bit.
It's definitely a game that is made with care. Like, you can see how hard they've worked in the different aspects of the game and how passionate everyone is about it, and that's something that I think should be not necessarily celebrated, because that's the way ideally it should be with every game, but it's worth commenting on, because especially with it being a Bethesda published title, so many times Bethesda gets a bad rap, quite rightly so, for games like Fallout 76 because it's a shit show, but then when a good one comes along like this, it's like, so you can do it, you do know how to do the good stuff.
Cool. So there you go. That was Doom Eternal. And for my next segment, for those of you, like, this week has been a bit of a drought for everyone else. 2 big AAA games come along. Either you like Animal Crossing or you like Doom. And if you like neither, what are your options, basically? Especially since you're spending so much more time at home, you might have more time to game now, and there's very little on offer. So this is why I've come up with the Peroni Plague Survival Guide, right? So this is basically people in my situation who weren't interested in the other 2 games, just wanted something to play to pass the time, maybe looking at some multiplayer. So I've been trying quite a few games this week, right? So the first one I was interested in Doom. I didn't really like the 2016 remake, but I saw Doom 64 on the Switch store, right? And it was something like £4 or £3.60 or something. And I realised I didn't.
That price.
I mean, it's cheap as chips, right? Yeah. And I thought, well, I've got enough Nintendo coins left, so I can just use them and essentially get it for free. So that's what I did. So I essentially got it for free with my Nintendo coins, and I've been playing it. Doom 64, never played or enjoyed. Well, I've played 2016 Doom. Didn't play any of the previous Doom. Didn't play 1, 2, or 3, or the other ones. Hadn't played Doom 64. So this is my very first Doom game that I sat down with at length, played, and enjoyed. Like, let's put it that way. The original game came out in 1997. God, before the
2097.
2097. Excuse me. So yeah, this was a game that was made after Doom 2. So you could people kind of call it the third Doom, but it's not Doom 3. And it wasn't a port of a Doom either, which is what the Doom 60 or the other 64 games were doing. Like games coming to the N64 at the time were usually ports, and they called them whatever game 64. Well, this was like an original game made by Midway, supervised by id. So this was like the bastard child, I guess. I don't know. It's such a good game. It's doing it injustice to call it that, because I had a lot of fun with it. It's a basic Doom formula, like an arcade shooter. You just run in and gun in. Apparently there's 32 levels. I'm not even halfway there yet. It's pretty difficult, let's be honest. But yeah, you're running and gunning. You're flipping switches to try and open doors in other rooms. So there's a little bit of trying to figure, I guess it is a little bit of puzzles. So, but more exploration and finding, what does this switch do? Like, it was a bit puzzling to begin with because I wasn't sure where to go. And I realised that some of the walls were actually doors, and I could just open them. So that was a bit of a surprise when I realised, oh, look, I should try every wall because apparently the doors look like walls in this game.
Well, there you go.
That was quite a moment. So other things, you collect keys to open certain coloured doors. I knew what I was doing with those doors, luckily enough, because the colour coded, you can't go wrong there. I managed to figure that one out. And then, that's it. Just loads of hellspawn or whatever they are. I don't know. I'm not down with the lingo.
There's plenty of lingo in Doom.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Like, what are you, the Marine, Doom Marine, or Hell Marine, or
well, yeah, Doom Marine, Doom Guy, or Doom Slayer. They're all the same guy, all interchangeable. Yeah,
forgive me for fans of the series who's screaming at your screens right now. How dare I not know the lingo? But yeah, I'm not going to go into a lot of depth with it. I'm having a lot of fun. It feels really fast, right? Because I never played. Like the first shooter I really played was the GoldenEye, and it's the same kind of era, right? And I can't remember it being as fast, right? Because you do travel really fast on foot. There's no run button. Oh yeah, there is. Sorry, automatically runs. Just set it on and you just run the whole time. One thing I noticed, right, for people who haven't played it, is that there's no y-axis. Is that right? So you can't look up and down. Yeah. It's just left and right, which helps me because I'm on using my controllers. Like people are screaming, "Gaz, you're a PC gamer. Why are you playing a shooter on a Switch? Are you stupid?" Well, actually, it's helped me because I don't have to worry about having to aim up because you just line it up and it automatically shoots up for you. So a bit of aim assist there go wrong for a guy who's used to mouse and keyboard. So I couldn't recommend it enough for what's essentially the price of coffee from Starbucks, let's put it that way. If Starbucks was open at the moment, but they're not.
Nope.
So £3 something, and it's kept me going for hours. It's nice to dip in and out of because it is an arcade type shit. You don't have to think about it too hard. You just have to remember, where was that door again to progress, that kind of thing. And it's level based. When you do die, you go to the start of the level again. So you might lose a bit, but there was one level I got stuck on for a good while, but because I died so many times, I started becoming like a speedrunner, running through the corridors and like taking them down really efficiently.
You know who spawns where,
and that feels pretty good. Even though I was had to die in order to achieve that. So yeah, I really did like Doom 64. I don't know whether it will get me invested in the franchise enough to try Doom 2016 or Doom Eternal again. I don't know, but that said, for £3.50, you can't go wrong.
I think one of the biggest problems with Doom 2016 is it starts you off with a pistol, and it's just the shittest weapon. That's one of the things I like about Eternal. It's like you never use the pistol. Once you got a better gun, you just moved on to something else. But we're going to give you the shotgun straight away, and then just go have actual fun instead of just pissy little water pistol.
Yeah, I mean it's very weird, right? Because you do start the level with a pistol in Doom 64. Obviously, there's usually a shotgun right in front of you, but if so, you kind of you your progress with your weapons is reset if you die, but you carry them through if you complete the level. So if you start a level having just completed the previous one, you've got your rocket launcher, you've got your chainsaw, whatever, you've got all the weapons. But then as soon as you die, you're back to a pistol at the beginning of that level, so you kind of lose a bit of an advantage there. So yeah, I guess that's a traditional thing to do, the old pistol at the start.
Yeah, Doom Eternal I think is the only one to abandon it, but it's a choice I admire because you never use it. Just hogging in inventory space.
No. There you go. Anyway, so next up in our Peroni Plague Survival Guide, I played a game called CryoFall. Now, this was... I spotted it on GOG because GOG did this awesome thing at the moment. They're just giving away like loads of free games. So for those of you who do play on PC and are looking for games to play and don't have a lot of money, check out GOG. There was like 20 odd games. I know they're they're very indie and some of them are pretty old. But this was a demo of a full game that released last year, April 2019. This game came out, so it wasn't the full game, but it was a decent sizable demo. It's available on Steam as well for those of you who are diehard Steam fans. Sorry, I got the date wrong. Then it came out. When did it come out? What am I talking? What did I say? What I'm talking about?
I have no idea. CryoFall. When did it come out?
CryoFall. Sorry, I'm getting complete. I've got so many games this week. I've gotten confused. I'm already talking about a different game. Yeah, CryoFall.
3rd of April 2019, apparently.
Yeah. Apologies. I'm reading my notes from a different game while I'm talking about one game.
Amazing.
So let's take everything I've just said right back and start with CryoFall because I was talking about Crying Suns, right? So CryoFall is this indie game made by Atomic Torch Studio, which was published by Daedalic Entertainment. They made a game called Dynaside and Void Expanse. Not very famous games at all. But this game, CryoFall, is like a multiplayer online game, and it's a survival game. So it's a mixture of like Rust and Don't Starve, people call it, and it reminds a little bit of RimWorld, although the aesthetic's very different. But it's got that sci-fi futuristic kind of set into it. So if any of you have ever played Don't Starve, you'll know exactly what to expect. There's huge progression in terms of you start out with just the basic tools, and then you end up in this game with like really sci-fi futuristic. You got like drones or like mechs and stuff that you run around with, and like laser pistols and stuff. So there's a huge progression in this game. The reason I picked this up is because it was free. The demo is free on this game. It's like an 8-hour free demo, and that is only on Steam. So ignore what I said before. That was about Crying Suns.
Still to come.
So yeah, that's coming up. That's a bit of a spoiler. Spoiler alert. So this game was released into early access. It's still an early access game, so that should be said. April last year. It's been supported really well from what I can see. Like I said, 8-hour free demo. So for those of you, the reason I chose this, for those of you who do have a bunch of friends who are looking to play a game together and don't really know what to do, don't have a lot of money, then check this out, because like I said, 8 hours a free demo for this game, and it's the full game. It's not a stripped back version. You get to play for 8 hours and then it just locks off, and if you want to buy it you can. And I think it's something like £6, because there's like 60% off at the moment until April the 5th or something like that. And I'm not recommending this game, I'm just letting you know about it. I haven't played enough of the game to be able to recommend it. I'm still in the early stages, and I still haven't really played it multiplayer, but I thought I'd bring it to your attention for those of you who are fans of games like Don't Starve. So basic things you're going to be doing in this game, like there's obviously a huge technology tree. You can trade in this game. You can set up like these vendors that you can sell stuff at. Obviously a lot of crafting, industry, farming, so you can create stuff and a bit like Stardew Valley, plant crops and then reap the rewards of them, exploration and other stuff. So yeah, the progression is the biggest part of it. Obviously, your character progresses loads. You've got all these different skills trees to unlock. But that does mean that you will be grinding to get resources, especially early on in the game. And I found that was a kind of the barrier for me. It was like, oh, you need like 20 sand in order to make glass, in order to make this, in order to make a musket or something like that. And I'm like, can I really be asked scouring the map for 20 sand or whatever? But if that's the kind of game that you're into, it might seem like a decent proposition for you. So that was it's just a short chat. I'm just letting you know about this game and that it's available. Like I said, it's the Peroni Plague Survival Guide. Let's move on to the game that I was supposed to be talking about, Crying Suns. Now, this is a game that was released it was kickstarted originally, I think, and it was officially fully released in 19th September 2019. So this is a single player game, unlike the previous game. So if you're into like your indie games, and like I said, this was on GOG as part of that bundle of games that I found there, although it is a demo. This is a game that's a bit like FTL, and for those of you who know and are familiar with the channel, FTL is one of my favourite, if not my favourite, independent game of all time. So it's like an iteration of that. So it's added a lot of features to the FTL formula. I mean, the Star Galaxy like overview map is identical to FTL. So you'll find yourself going from left to right, a bunch of stars that link together, and then after a certain amount of like jumps, the stars to the left become uninhabitable because there's just too many enemies. So you've got to keep moving forward. So it's a bit like a roguelite thing, very much the same as FTL. However, I did say there are differences. The combat is a lot different because it takes place on a hexagonal grid, unlike FTL. So it's real time, but you've got pause and you've got to deploy units onto the battle map, and which you control. And there's three main types of units. Like you've got a frigate, fighter, and a drone. And it's a bit like a rock paper scissors setup. So when the enemy comes at you, like the drones are strong against the frigates, but weak against the fighters. Fighters are strong against drones, weak against the frigates, and the frigates are strong against fighters, weak against the drones. You know the score. Yeah. So you've got there's tactics in that, and you've got a battleship on each side. You've got guns on your battleship too, which you can control and upgrade and personalize or whatever. So you've got to pay attention to what units that you're deploying. So if the enemy comes at you with drones, then well, there you go. You've got to put your frigates back in the battleship and get your fighters out, kind of thing. So there's it gets very complicated once they start throwing multiple types of enemies at you. Then you've got to consider where you are positionally on the battle map and stuff. It gets pretty interesting. There are one other type of unit called the cruiser, which are more like a volley attack, which is like a distance attack, so they don't go right up and fight melee as they that's as it's described in the game. So that's how it's like. There's a lot more of the tactics in this game compared with something like FTL, because it's just a ship versus a ship and you just target individual systems in FTL, which is a system I really like, but this is quite interesting too. And the other main difference from this in FTL is that this is very story rich, and it's a lot more immersive as well than FTL. So you take on the role of an Admiral Idaho, his name is, and you wake up and you're a clone. You've been cloned from your other DNA, and there's this AI helping you, talking you through what's happened, and there's a big mystery in the solar system to solve. But obviously bad guys have taken over, the technology isn't working anymore, and there's a lot of things to unravel. You go around from planet to planet, you meet different people and you chat with them about what's going on in the area. So there's a lot of things to it. And there's also as well as the combat, there's like away missions that you can go on to. So you send out Marines, which are like one of the resources in the game. It's weird. They're disposable, kind of. You can gain them because they're like mercenary Marines, but you send them out on missions to try and gather more resources and stuff. So it's quite an interesting game, and like I said, it's a free demo. There's 6 chapters. They can play the very first one absolutely free, like on GOG or Steam, and basically go and check it out if it sounds appealing, because like I said, it's one that I want to play more of. I'm not willing to shell out 20 quid for it right now. I'll probably wait until it's on a bit of a sale, especially with some big games coming up. I've got Mountain Blade 2 next week, at the end of next week, so I don't really want to get stuck into, although I could probably get this out by then, bash this out, finish it off by then, but I don't know. there you go. That was Crying Sons. And the other one I've been playing, but I'm not really going to talk a lot about it because I've already done 3 games already now, is Enter the Gungeon. I just picked that up and played it a little bit because it's free on Xbox Game Pass for PC. And Exit the Gungeon is like the follow-up, which has been released recently, I believe. So you can play the original one if you've got the Game Pass, which is quite cool. And one thing I do want to note before we finish this up is that how valuable game subscriptions are now for players who are at home, who do want games to try, just to play. Who've got a lot of time spare because they're not going out drinking or whatever you do in your spare time when you're a youngster. I don't know. And there's not a lot of AAA games to choose from. You think, and that, if you're not a fan of Doom or whatever, or any of the upcoming games, the subscriptions are cool. Another one that I did want to try this week, but I didn't get around to, was the update to Ghost Recon Breakpoint, which apparently has got an immersive mode now, so you don't have to you don't pick up loads of weapons and just have to check which one's got the nicest or the best figs on it anymore. Yeah. They've completely changed it, and you can mod, if you like a weapon or the feel of a weapon, you can mod that one to make it more powerful now, rather than just have to switch them out all the time, which is cool. And there's apparently in the hub world now, you won't get just loads of people invading your game
real
space.
People.
Which is a nice change too, because the game itself was pitched as this immersive type of experience where you're behind enemy lines on your own, and then you walk into the hub and there's loads of people running around doing like emotes, teabagging people and that. I don't know. Not the most immersive game. It's absolute bollocks. So I've got that downloaded now. Since my internet's been limiting me this week, I've definitely downloaded that. I'm going to try that out. I'm not sure whether it'll result in any content on the channel or not. It depends what feelings and thoughts I have about it, but it's one I'm definitely going to try out, that's for sure. And for those of you who do have a recommendation for the thing I'm trying to go for here, which is like the what games to play now we're all at home kind of thing, and we're all having forced to play games because we've got all this extra time. Leave your suggestions down in the comments. Any multiplayer games? Been looking for multiplayer games to play with the Discord community, because they're getting some organisation together, because like a lot of the guys are at home and want to play together, and we're just looking for games. So leave your recommendations down below, and hopefully we'll have part 2 of the Peroni Plague Survival Guide in next week's podcast. There you go. Shall we move on now?
Let's have some Discord questions from the aforementioned people who will be playing multiplayer with us. So the first one up is from Durlock Sergio, but Tons also asked a similar question, so I kind of just smushed them together. Question: given the Heineken horror affecting the world, which post-apocalyptic video game would you prefer to live in? Now, by their very definition, post-apocalyptic means it's probably really, really going to suck. But the first one that springs to my mind, because it's the least shit, is Horizon Zero Dawn. I mean, obviously,
that's what I was going to go for.
You'd have to hide from robot T-Rexes and whatnot. But the way I always describe it is post-apocalyptic, because the apocalypse has happened, then the post-apocalypse has happened, and now some new form of civilization and society is starting to come back, so that it's a bit more of an actual world you could, live in and have a job and have a life, more than just, living hand to mouth type thing, just trying to survive by the skin of your teeth.
I can't think of any better suggestions than that, to be honest, because it's such an interesting world. I would choose something like, the games I like are the worst worlds, like The Last of Us.
No one wants
to
live
you
in
wouldn't
The
want to
Last of
live
Us.
in The Last of Us world, not with all those clickers and that running around. Absolutely not. But you're gonna have to go with Horizon on that one. Thanks for the question, Durlock and Tons. I'll ask the next one. Two Shot Tino asks, been a while since I asked a question, so I've got a couple. First of all, could the current outbreak be the end of GameStop? Digital sales are going through the roof. So to address that one first, I think they're having to adapt, right? they initially said that they were essential. I check Yongye's back catalogue for the full details in great detail. He did a good few videos on the GameStop's roller coaster over the last few days to a week, where they originally said that they were essential retail, so they were going to stay open, flout the government's recommendation to close all non-essential retail, and then they were forced to close, and then so they were doing like, are they doing like curbside pickups and stuff then, where people could just drive by a drive-by pickup, because they haven't done the digital thing and started, capitalized on the digital marketplace like they probably should have done, but now they're completely shut down, as far as I understand. They were doing so much. They were making so much money apparently at the time because people were prepping for being locked up in their houses for so long. That's why they wanted to stay open, because people were coming and buying all the games up and then going home and stockpiling them ready for the lockdown. So obviously they wanted to capitalize on that, but people just seen it as a way of trying to, I don't know, just capitalize on the situation and just flouting the people coming in and playing on the controllers. You've got like the game stations where you come in and everyone's touching the controllers and spreading the germs and stuff. Oh, can't think of a worse place to keep open.
Yeah, I definitely think it's gonna contribute to the end of GameStop. I think Game here in the UK, they're going through similar problems of, not being able to sell in an already dying retail space, and even worse, video game retail, because digital can just replace it. They were already dying, is my point. So this could be the final nail in the coffin, or they could slither on by the skin of their teeth, because people like me, we still like to buy physical retail, but I can still get it without a shop. So like I had to for Doom. I got a physical copy for Doom Eternal. And I physically couldn't go and get the copy from my local game store because it closed the day it launched, which seems like a mad decision. But I really wouldn't be surprised if this was the end for companies like GameStop.
I mean, another factor to consider too is the amount of people who have not taken to using online retail in the past, being forced to now. And therefore, they could get used to it, get more comfortable with it, be confident in it. Realize how convenient it is just to order off Amazon, get it delivered to your door. For those people who were hanging on to walking into a bricks and mortar store, which they can't do right now, they might just realize, well, what's the point going to a bricks and mortar store? And that, again, is another contributing factor as to why this might be another nail in the coffin, so to speak. And it seems that Reggie Fils-Aimé can't even save him now, because he's the ex-president of the Nintendo of America president, right?
Yeah, he's now on the board.
Oh, God.
But
there you go.
I'll take your second question, Too Short Tino. Second question is a return of the firsts I used to ask. What was your first platinum on PlayStation? Mine was Monopoly Plus. Don't judge me. All right, you're being judged. Monopoly Plus. What are the platinum? Like, what are the trophies for that? Like,
how many times you got a pass go?
Yeah, you get a thing.
500 pass goes.
I went on a sort of platinum run over the last year or so, not like a hardcore one, but I've done a few. But my first one was Days Gone, and it was quite easy. It wasn't that much of a challenge, but like I really, really enjoyed that game. Got to the end, and I was like, well, I've only got, I think, like 6 or 7 trophies left, so I'll just clean those up, and I just did it. So, and I shared it on Twitter, and the developers liked it, so that I felt recognised.
The ultimate kudos right there.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever platinumed a PlayStation game. I don't think I've ever platinumed any game. Have I? No, I don't believe I have, even on Steam or anything, all the achievements on Steam. I don't believe I have, so let's just move on.
Maybe during this lockdown, it's time to buy Monopoly Plus and get that platinum.
There you go. How easy is it? 2 shots in. Let us know how much of my time I'm going to have to invest to Monopoly Plus. There you go. Let's move on now to Fat Cake's question. Do you think that when companies eventually announce delays because of the cough People will start to get outrageously mad and give death threats to devs.
I mean,
what do you think, Henry?
Those psychopaths are always out there who will throw the toys out of the pram at the sound of anything. Well, I think people are getting better at not doing that, or at least not platforming it when it happens, because it happens every time. But those people are just they're always going to exist.
Yeah, I think it's generally the young adolescents, right? Like the teen. Let's categorize these people. Let's
profile them.
Profile these guys. So I think that the majority of people who are in work or whatever would understand how much of an impact this has on not just people at home and governments and companies and stuff like that, but everything is affected. So they'll have a bit more compassion. That's one thing that's come out of this whole situation, is that people are considering a little bit more about the neighbors and like real life people. But like you said, there's always going to be people who just don't give a shit about how other people's situation and just want what they want, and they're just evil little bastards just going to start shit on the internet about it.
Yeah.
But there you go. I think it'll be lessened. I don't think people will get outrageously mad.
It's probably going to happen, but I feel like people will be a bit more sensitive about it. Yeah. Because they're in a similar situation. Like, presumably these people have lost their workplaces or whatever. Anyway, right, let's move on now. I've not been looking forward to this question. I don't want to engage with this.
This is the best question ever.
So, Shag, Marry, Kill, they're normally good fun. But this is this is by Cloney, of course. This is the New Warriors edition. You're welcome, Metal Shark. So, these are the new Marvel superheroes. You know, Marvel, the biggest comic book company in the world right now. They do like Iron Man and Captain America, Thor, all those big heroes. They've now announced and revealed a bunch of new ones. That's cool. New heroes come out all the time.
Do tell us who they are, Henry.
Screen Time. A meme-obsessed super teen whose brain became connected to the internet after becoming exposed to his grandfather's experimental internet gas. Now he can see augmented reality and real-time maps and can constantly Google any fact. Does this make him effectively a genius? He sure acts like it does.
He's got Google inbuilt into his head. It's called Screen Time.
What a superpower. Okay, then next up, hold your breath. This is a double bill, a double feature. Snowflake and Safe Space, psychic twins. All twins are psychic, but we're psychic. Excellent. Snowflake, a cryokinetic, can materialize snowflake-shaped shuriken projectiles for throwing. Safe Space can materialize pink force fields, but he can't inhabit them himself. The reflex only works if he's protecting others. What a true hero. They're hyper-aware of modern culture and optics, come on. And they see their superheroics as a post-ironic meditation on violence to combat bullying. They're probably streaming this. I didn't add that as an ad-lib. That's part of it.
That's part of the discussion. Let me just point out that this isn't a parody, right? This is not anyone taking the piss. These are real-life Marvel superheroes now, right? They're making comics with these characters in right now. Snowflake and effing Safe Space are real-life Marvel superheroes. I can't wait for that Marvel movie, can you?
Oh my god, that's going to be amazing.
This is real. I'm not even joking. You can watch the videos of the guy explaining it. I thought this was a bullshit. I thought someone had made this up. Thought it was a parody. And then I watched it. It's absolutely real. Anyway, sorry, Henry, carry on.
There's one more. B negative, a teen living vampire exposed to Michael Morbius's blood as a child in a rogue but life-saving medical procedure. Now, Michael Morbius is an already existing Marvel character. He's a Spider-Man villain. He's just a vampire. There's a movie coming up about him. It's probably going to be shit. He still ages like a regular kid, but has all the abilities of Morbius. He's also obsessed with all the music and attitude of a classic long past decades like the 90s and noughties. Classic long past decades like the 90s and noughties. Okay. The world is a vampire, and so am I. I'm just so edgy, almost as edgy as my haircut. Now, It's important to note here that, as Cloney writes, by the way, this is all Marvel writing. I did not make these descriptions up. So these are the officially written descriptions by Marvel themselves, by the creators themselves. We're not taking the piss. The characters look like this. The descriptions are this. This is what they are. It's just absurd.
They are called Snowflake and Safe Space. There's one we've missed out because SMK is only a trio, right? There's another one.
Yeah.
What was Trailblazer, who took... I mean, it's just she doesn't even have any magic powers. She's just got a backpack, right?
Yeah,
she's just got
a magic backpack that she didn't even make. Like Iron Man, he doesn't have any powers, but he used his brain to make his suit. This girl is, I mean, she's overweight for a start.
She'd tick some more diversity boxes right there.
Yeah,
right?
She's the diversity box. But anyway, she's not included. We ain't got time for her.
Oh, so we got so this isn't. So this is an SMK. So what we're supposed to choose now is which one to shag, which one to marry, and which one to kill. Now, we don't know where to start. Can't we just bin them all off here, Henry?
There's another shag, marry, kill later on in this podcast. Spoiler alert. Can we just get rid of all of these pricks?
Okay. This was an excuse to just bash on these new Marvel characters. That's fine. We're not going to answer the question. Nope. We're just going to point and laugh. And it's not just because we're arseholes and we're right wing or whatever you want. Apparently the left hate this as well.
Yeah, apparently
the left and the right are both the same in hating these new characters. And if we are politically aligned, we're somewhere around the middle, I would say. Yeah. Anyway. So we're neutral, like Switzerland. So, don't be casting aspersions on us, guys.
Hold on, there's one more bit from Cloney, which I think is always important to read. Also, support the channel in times of quarantine, giving you the backlog in podcasts to keep you sane over at patreon.com/prettygoodgaming for less than the price of a Netflix subscription outside of Italy. That's it. They're not my words. Cloney's words. I'm not plugging.
Yeah.
He's
Cloney
doing it.
says... Yeah, Cloney says have to support on Patreon, then you have to support on Patreon because Cloney he knows what he's talking about.
You can engage in the shag, marry, kill about these ridiculous characters.
Yeah. There you go. Let's move on quickly.
Yeah, we're running out of time.
Lochka's question, who asks, after playing the game for however long, what do you think of Doomguy's diet? What do you think Doom Guy's diet consists of? So what does Doom Guy eat, Henry?
Exclusively, like, demon bits.
Demon hearts.
Demon hearts, demon blood, demon brains, exclusively.
Yeah.
He takes a bite out of the heart and then washes it down with a nice pint of blood.
Yeah.
That's it.
That seems realistic. Now let's move on to the actual real Shag, Marry, Kill, right?
Yeah, let's do this one. Okay, Shag, Marry, Kill, Final Shag Edition. Oerba Yunfang, the mysterious, devious fighter woman, dead set on protecting Vanille of Final Fantasy. That's 13? I think 13.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got Tifa Lockhart, classic, the childhood friend of Cloud Strife and owner of the Seventh Heaven Bar. What a suggestive name, from Final Fantasy VII fame and wet dreams of gamers for centuries. Oh my gosh. Yes, kids, we only had pixelated boobies back in the day. We had it hard growing up. And
literally, right?
Yuna, the naive but possibly kind caretaker of Final Fantasy X, who turned into a more modern woman in the second half, 10-2, and personally raised my interest in the Final Fantasy series with her dance scene in that trailer. I don't know what that trailer is, and for my own internet search history, I'm not going to look it up, I don't think. Okay, well, this one, it's easily marry Tifa. She owns a bar. It's one of my dream jobs is to own a bar. I'd love that, and she's great. I always preferred Tifa to Aerith as well, but that's just me. I think let's shag the Final Fantasy 13 one. What's her name? Oerba Yunfang. I have no idea how you pronounce the name.
Yeah.
Shag her, and then unfortunately, the other one who is Yuna. Yuna can get in the bin. She can die.
Along similar lines, Tifa will be my marry. Yuna will be my shag. Oh no, you shagged Tifa, didn't you? Anyway, let's stick with that. And then kill Obera Yunfang because of her hair. It's a bit scraggy. Although, saying that, we'll all have scraggy hair soon because we can't get to the hairdressers, can we? I was due a haircut this week. And what am I going to do now? Like Friday, I've got to do videos for the next however many weeks, and my hair's going to be like, what am I going to do? I ask my wife, my kids to cut my hair, do it myself? What does the guy do? These are the predicaments that we're faced with now, people. The world has gone crazy.
Should that be the next ultimate Patreon pledge? Whoever pledges the most can cut Gaz's hair. The stipulation being, do I do? Any style you want.
I can sort my beard out, but what about the rest, man? It's just going to get wild. It's going to get wild. Anyway, let's move on quickly. Any suggestions down in the comments? Metal Shark asks, when work calms down, there'll be another quiz, but think you're both enjoying the time off. Isn't that true? So have a technical question instead. Private gaming network services such as WTF Fast offered on gaming routers have long been shown to be snake oil. That is until everyone is on domestic internet starts remote working. And suddenly people using these services are experiencing less lag and outages due to routing through less congested services. So at last, these nice-to-have gaming network services are now showing their worth both to gamers as well as server operators with solutions such as Spectrum. Alas, this is another case of paying for advantages and setting up internet fast lanes. For example, anti-net neutrality. What are your views on these services? Should they be shunned for their anti-consumer capitalistic nature? Should they be reserved for esports tournaments, games journalists, etc.? Should they be put out of business with the focus being on net neutrality instead? It's a difficult one, this, because everywhere you go, you pay for. You go to Disney World, you pay for the fast lane, you pay for a fast pass, right? You pay a premium, you get things quicker. And this is essentially what this is. They're trying to make a little bit more money by offering a little bit better service or experience to the consumer. That's just how things have gone. And it's the same with speed ups in games. I don't like them. It's like XP boosters. It's the same principle, right? You pay a little bit more money, you get a little bit better of an experience. So yeah, in principle, I hate it. But I understand why it's being done. I guess there are people who need internet essentially. Like for example, the government need to be able to communicate in order to keep the country running. And if they didn't have, if they were using everyone else's internet and it was all slowing down and it crashed or whatever, then that's a pretty crucial problem. But in terms of general, I don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah. I don't really, but at the same time, when it comes to gaming, it pisses me off, specifically for the competitive scene, because if you're paying it means you get an advantage over someone else, so the competition is now irrelevant. It's not competition because it's fundamentally unfair. But I feel like the same with the fast pass thing in like Disneyland, which doesn't really get you there much quicker anyway. If you want to pay extra, I think that should be fine, so long as the vanilla version, the base version, isn't compromised by that. I mean, generally it is, because it incentivizes you getting the fast pass or the upgraded premium version or whatever. But so long as the base one is fine and serviceable, or beyond serviceable, is actually good and the best quality service it can be. If you want that little bit extra, I don't really see a problem with paying for it. If you've got the money for it, why not if they offer it?
Yeah. No, that's a good point. The
so long as the core is fine.
It is a good point, because if they incentivize the premium service by making the standard service inferior, then that's where the problem becomes. And it's the same with XP boosters in a Ubisoft
they make
game,
it harder
for
to earn XP
they make
organically.
It super grindy, exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I guess that would be an ideal scenario, but you can't rely on. These are corporations. They're going to try and get as much money out of you in every way possible, right? So yeah, you where the morals stand, you can't rely on these companies to have morals. That's for sure. Yeah. So there you go. Those are a collection of thoughts, and I don't think we've answered all your questions there, Metal Shark, but that's some of what we thought. So let's move on to. Not That Rob Lowe's proxy question, because he didn't ask it this week. Obviously very busy. Game of the Ages. Now, Henry has surpassed the actual year.
Yeah, I'm at the deadline.
We are at the year which we turn 24, and Henry is in this year of which he turns 24.
I turned 24 last year, so I will be turning 25 this year.
25 this year, yeah. My apologies.
One of them.
Bit of a mistake. So you don't have a game because you need your favorite game of this year isn't doable.
I mean, so far, I think the only game I've played that's a new game is probably Doom. I don't think I've played any other new ones. I mean,
there's not been a lot of choice, is there?
Nah, there's been a bit of a drought so far, and then it's all kind of come at once. I wasn't going to play Animal Crossing anyway; it's not my kind of thing. But then, so that's there. Then there's Last of Us, Final Fantasy, Resident Evil, blah 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 blah. So ask me again in a couple of weeks, and I'll have a better answer.
There you go. So my year is 2004. I've got a notable mention here for Sid Meier's Pirates, which was the remake of the 1987 version. But the winner, hands down, again, another clean, swept the board. Rome Total War. There's just no comparison. Rome Total War is one of my favourite games of all time, and there's nothing that could come near it in 2004. So there you go. Total War series. Close to my heart. Cool.
Well, there you go. I think
Thanks for your question.
That's the end of it, right?
That is the end of our Discord questions for this week. If you do want to contribute a question to the podcast, I'm having problems with my stream here. Hopefully that's resolved. It looks like it. If you do want to contribute a question to the podcast, then join us on Patreon. www.patreon.com/prettygoodgaming, and for as little $1, my words aren't even working anymore. For as little as $1 a month, you can get access to the Discord, get early access to the podcast, and have that warm feeling inside knowing that you're helping support us bring you this content on YouTube. And it really does help us out. So that's it. That wraps up the Discord questions for this week. Next, we're going to move on to the Triggered Fanboy Comment of the Week. So Henry, you have a doozy, right?
So this is 270 words about something I didn't say.
Beautiful.
So if you think that's pretty bonkers, let's just jump into it. So I think this is on the video about different developers saying that the PS5 is better than some people saying the Xbox Series X is better. So even the developers can't make up their minds. So this guy is Daniel Allen. Okay. This is the biggest pile of horse shit I've ever heard. To say the PS5 architecture is more future-proof than the Xbox Series X is unbelievably dumb. I didn't say that. I don't know. Where are we getting that from, Chow?
I don't care. You're still unbelievably dumb, Henry.
I think I maybe said something about the PS5 being more experimental because that's what the second-hand quotes of the developers have said. And even then I made a point about the games. Whatever. The only thing...
The thing is, sorry, before you carry on, I can call you unbelievably dumb here, right? Because we're in a different country. We're over the internet now. You're not right next to me. I'm not running the risk of a punch in the face, which is why this guy is calling you unbelievably dumb, right? You can swing all you want, Henry. You're not going to reach me. That's why he's free to say that kind of shit. He wouldn't say that to your face. You can guarantee it. Anyway, sorry. Please continue.
Okay. The only thing it has that outperforms the Xbox is the SSD. That's it. All Xbox ever does is innovate. If you want to talk future-proofing, cloud gaming is the future.
Oh, he's just destroyed his own any sort of reputation he's got there. Cloud gaming is the future. What the are you even a gamer? Do you even play games? What the fuck are you talking about, Daniel? And I'm sorry, I interrupted again. Please continue.
I think your Microsoft fanboy bias is showing here, buddy. And considering Microsoft has invested millions into it already, and Sony hasn't invested shit, I'd say Microsoft is a hell of a lot more future-proof than Sony. Once again, I didn't say that. And I think you say Sony hasn't invested shit. I mean, hasn't invested into cloud gaming. Yeah, maybe, even though I'm pretty sure there was a news story a little while ago about them teaming up to use, was it Azure or some shit? I can't remember.
Yeah. They made a deal with Microsoft, essentially. Sony did. I mean,
yeah.
Didn't do shit apart from make this huge deal.
As of right now, the Xbox Series X has more advanced hardware than PS5. I'm not a fanboy. Are you sure about that?
Wow.
I play both consoles and always have since the release of the first Xbox. So I could give two shits about siding with one over the other. But
I
facts
could
are
give.
facts.
Don't you mean you couldn't give two shits? Get your bloody... Get your phrases right.
But
you couldn't
facts.
give two shits. Not you could give two shits.
Yeah.
God almighty.
But
Carry on.
But facts are facts, and I'm sick of hearing these videos where they put PlayStation up on a damn pedestal just because of their past achievements. I mean, I didn't do that. All I'm doing is saying what developers said, buddy. Instead of what they're doing now. When they released the specs on the Series X, everyone talked like it was the best thing since sliced bread. Then the PS5 specs released, and now it's PS5 instead. No one's saying that. Most people are saying the PS5 is shit. So, I mean, you're on the wrong side of the conversation there. Even though it's less in every other way other than the SSD. Games will play and look better on the Series X. I can promise this. Games on PS5 will load faster. I can also promise this. Stop putting PlayStation on top because when it comes to next generation, it's just not so. The sooner you realize, the sooner you can accept reality and stop, in capital letters, making these retarded ass videos.
Oh, he finished with a doozy there. There's
Yep.
so much you can pick apart from this comment. Oh my God.
There's
What a
270
rant.
odd words of it.
A beautiful rant. It's a beautiful rant, is that?
You
It's
just,
like, I appreciate the rantiness of that.
and the thing is, I don't even disagree with it. That's what makes it better. Like, yeah, you're right. At the moment, it looks like the Xbox is better. It's got better everything apart from the SSD and some other interesting bits, which according to the developers themselves, say this is really innovative. I'm going to go with what a second-hand report of a developer has said, even though it may be second-hand, to what you're ranting about on the internet, Mr. Daniel Allen. But thank you for sharing. You are this week's Triggered Fanboy of the Week. Buy yourself a medal and wear it with pride.
That's right. Cloud gaming is the future. Of course it is. I'm not a fanboy. Of course you're not. I mean, and there was another one there too about you can promise that it's going to be better. You can't promise that. Come on, guy. You don't know how the games play. You are looking at a sheet of specs just like everybody else. You are making your own interpretation just like everybody else. We don't know how these are going to play. Developers really like the fact that the SSD in the PlayStation is some of the fastest bit of hardware ever seen in a gaming device, and people are really excited about that in terms of game development. I mean, it breaks off a lot of limitations in terms of game development. So, I mean, why would you determine right now that that's not going to be that's going to be inferior to the Xbox? I mean, I've got some expectations. Maybe that's sure. That's my opinion. I'm allowed that. Just like you're allowed your shitty opinion.
It's my opinion, but your opinion is dumb.
Yeah. No, there you go, Mr. Daniel Allen. Thank you. I mean, I did have a contender this week for Chicken Farm. Obviously, that takes the biscuit. But actually, I'm going to do this one first. Ralph Nader 2020 commented on last week's podcast. What? All caps. No Triggered Fanboy comment of the week? Well, I just wasted 50 minutes. Thanks, guys. In all caps. That's great.
Well, this week you've got two, and you're one of them.
You're one of them. No. I think what I'm going to do is, this will be the second one, right? The second one. G-LO22 comments, this video is trash. First of all, report the facts. Jason Schreier spoke to Sony devs from Naughty Dog. What do you think they will say? A former Sony dev said Xbox Series X is far superior from people he spoke to. I mean, what are you going to do?
What? I'm really confused about what his point is. Did he say
report the facts?
So
well, he doesn't agree.
The PlayStation versus Xbox video, I assume.
Yeah, he doesn't agree with the fact that.
Well, but Schreier said in his quote that it's what devs have been telling him recently and for years. He's a popular journalist. He's got a lot of sources. He doesn't just speak to one studio's team. Like, just because he's recently spoken about Naughty Dog, it doesn't mean he only ever exclusively speaks to them.
Yeah,
that's
his point.
What?
His point is that Jason Schreier's word here isn't for nothing because
he only speaks to Naughty Dog.
Yeah, because Naughty Dog's information he got us from Naughty Dog, and they're biased. Essentially, that's what he's saying here.
But you don't know he got that from Naughty Dog because he speaks to a million different developers.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever. True. I ain't got the patience to break apart your stupid.
Okay, I've got another kind of kind of triggered one, right? On the same topic, Iro comments, "This is ridiculous." And then in quotes, "Everyone that I've talked to who's working on the PS5 says it's a beast," end quotes, which is relevant because they've also worked on the Xbox and say that it isn't. Oh, wait. Bit of sarcasm there. I like it. Then pretending that the PS5's weaker hardware will be capable of more advanced things in the future, F-U-T-A-A-A-A, is exactly the same marketing technique they used when previous PS's pathetic RAM capacity, and we all know how that turned out. No mods for Bethesda titles, etc. I'm not promising that the Xbox will be great. I'm sure Microsoft will fuck something up. Yeah. But to sit there and pretend that a 20% increase in power is irrelevant because of yet more fantastical dreams of the future brought to you by Sony, aka this is our best controller. No, this is our best controller. Okay, this is our best controller. Is ridiculous. Again, that's the third Microsoft triggered fanboy of the week. There's 3 of them. A trifecta. That's to make up for last week.
Yeah.
There you go. Apologies there, guys. We made it up to you with 3 triggered fanboys this week.
Do you want to jump into any other comments, or are we? How are we doing?
Do you have any more?
I haven't got any. I've got a few nice ones from my, because a lot of people seem to quite like my Doom video, and that was all yeah. All I would hope for is that people learn something. But I got quite a funny one here from Cheetah00. Okay, that is a great video, and I'm not even pissed off that it has 3 or less news items in it. Well done, bud. So it's not Beautiful. A triple, and he's happy about it. It's just a single.
There you go.
I wouldn't call it a daily one. It's just, although realistically, daily triples aren't daily anymore. They're bi-weekly.
Whenever, it don't matter as long as it gets some semblance of people questioning or commenting, why isn't it daily? Then at least it's worth calling it daily.
And if we get a comment with people saying, why isn't it daily? That's just an extra comment, an extra engagement.
Exactly. The next one is the same kind of tone. I think that's the way I read it anyway. On the video, what makes Doom Eternal better than Doom 2016? Perfect blend of old and new video. Ian P says, this is our voiceover video that we did last Friday, I think. This channel is I'll read that again. This channel is usually very weak, but this video was passable.
Oh, is this guy has commented on many of our videos with often the same sort of shit. He's complaining about faff all the time. And I'm like, well, if it's a trash channel, why are you here? Buddy?
He's commenting.
I mean, you're commenting. That's fine.
It's usually very weak. If he's watching very weak content on YouTube, in his estimation, how much YouTube must he be watching? He must be watching a shed load of. If he's watched all his favourites and he's getting down to the dregs, like what we are apparently. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. You just like. It speaks to your own taste. To be honest, if you're choosing to come back and watch this trash over and over again, you hate watching. Like it's like when you're like watching a car crash. You just can't bear to look away.
There you go.
I don't know.
Okay, I got another. Have you got another one?
Not right now. I'm on the lookout.
Okay. This was on yesterday's video as we're recording, but it was a few days ago now, which was the Animal Crossing getting review bombed. And then part of the story is you mentioned that PETA were giving advice to like vegans or whatever about.
I love that.
About how not to harm animals in the game. And this I think, I don't know if this is real or not. It's kind of along the lines of the Marvel story from earlier. You know, you can't really tell if it's parody or what, but Theon and Only, the one and only, comments, I'm sorry, but if a vegan doesn't want to kill animals in a game and it doesn't affect you at all, I'm not eating meat and I hate killing animals in games. It's not a nice experience for me, even if it's virtual. If you want to do that, it's fine, but let others find a way around it. FFS.
That's basically what I said in the video.
Triggered vegan.
The joke I made was, I don't care if you only eat veg. I don't care if you only eat meat. I don't care if you only eat dicks. Stop telling people how to play games. And that's exactly what you've just accused me of doing. Yeah. But what? You fucking. I need to stop trying to.
A triggered vegan. A triggered vegan of the week. There you go. Oh. There's a new segment. Triggered vegan of the week.
It's like finding a unicorn. Well, it's not really. They're not that rare.
Talking of only eating dicks, Vernon Ray says, I only eat vag.
Sure you do, buddy.
I hope he's got some breath freshener. God almighty. If he only eats
here we go.
vag.
Here's one guy who's...
Can I just follow that up, right? Yeah. I commented to him, I hope you got some breath freshener. And then someone commented to me, something along the line, I haven't got it in front of me, something along the lines of, you want to get your missus see the doctor because if it smells bad, there's something wrong. It was just a joke, man. It was a joke.
Well, so I got one final guy here who he's commented on a handful of different things, and he's one of the most PC Master Race motherfuckers I've ever seen. And this first one isn't that bad, but it's from Tari on what makes Doom better than Doom Eternal better than Doom 2016. I think. Why the fuck are they playing Doom on a controller? And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's a little bit PC Master Race, but then it goes on. But you can't truly play Doom on a controller. It's not only because of my race, it's because it's fucking Doom. And there's a bunch of others of this guy just raging about PC Master Race stuff. I'll see if I can find some of his past comments, because they are a treat. I hope you're watching Tari, or Tari, because they're all spaced out. Have you got any more comments?
I've got a comment from last week's podcast. Flavin80 comments, run it at 2 times speed. These fucking guys are comatose. I watch all my YouTube content at time and a half at the very slowest time and a half. Everything on YouTube I watch at 1.5, and okay, we might talk a little bit slow. I don't happen to think we talk particularly slow compared to some people that I watch, but there you go. If he thinks we're comatose.
I've been criticised for talking too fast before, so I don't know where you're getting that from, bud. Okay, so I got more comments from this guy. He's the most PC Master Race guy ever. It's great. So Tari again on the Animal Crossing video. I heard so many kids saying Doom 2 is the best game this month when clearly it's not, and not even that good of a game due to the amount of BS in it. What kind of BS? Like, it's not microtransaction. Like, if you don't like the chainsawing and glory kill mechanic focus, I guess, but Mount and Blade 2 is out this month, so where is all the hype? It's right here. He's already been speaking about it, and you've spoken about it loads of times in the past. This is Game of the Year content. You can't be sure of that. You haven't played it yet. I forgot. It's not a console game, so can't win. These people call themselves gamers when playing on controllers.
Yeah.
It's an interesting argument posed there. Would a PC-only game ever win Game of the Year? Probably not, because not as many people will play it, because consoles are... The point of a console is availability to the masses. But
what's the name of this commenter? Is this guy called Mac from Worth the Buy?
Wow, where's another?
Oh, it's funny. It's funny. I was about to disagree with him about stop being a console PC Master Race arsehole. Then he mentioned Mount and Blade 2, and I was like, well, you got a point there, dude.
Yeah.
And that was a joke, by the way. That was another joke. For those of you who don't understand sarcasm.
He's a good one. If you can find any more comments of him, chances are he's going to say something
funny.
Really stupid. There's another one from the Outriders video from a while ago, your gameplay footage. This game is a festering pile of feces. Go play something good. And it got 13 likes. Like, you haven't played it. Fair enough, it's your opinion based on what it looks like, but you haven't fucking...
I've got one last triggered one. Do I want to read it? Yeah, why not? So it's this video. This comment was on the again the video about Animal Crossing not being playable in full by the second player. People review bombing it. And Cow in Space comments, are people just too retarded to realise they can log in under the island owner's account? God, gamers are such crybabies nowadays, needing hand-holding throughout most basic things. That's not the effing point, dude. You've completely missed the point.
Having my own save file is nothing to do with handhold. I don't want to have to... I mean, I'm not playing the game anyway. But why should you have to play on someone else's account with someone else's character? The whole
just
point
to progress the game, yeah?
Yeah, is that it's your your experience, your little island, and your sim of the Animal Crossing, the New Horizon, whatever you want to call it. Like,
it's completely against the point, right? You shouldn't have to jump through those hoops. And I think the main point is that there's no technical or reasonable excuse for doing what they've done and limiting only one island per Nintendo Switch device, right? There's no other excuse for that other than they want people to buy their own Nintendo Switch devices along with the game. That's the only reason that they've done it. Because again, like I said, there's no technical reason why they couldn't allow all users on one device to have their own islands. They've only done it to try and make more money, and it's bullshit. It's complete, utter bullshit. You pay £60 for a game and you can only play it fully with one person. Another person plays it, they don't get the full experience. It's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit.
Especially when the game has promoted itself on being like a very social affair, and you can have everyone playing together because they've got like that local multiplayer mode or something. I don't quite know how it works, where you can all run around the same island together. You can't then take away that like USP by locking it behind save files.
Yeah. Anyway, I think I've had my rant fill of the day, and hopefully you guys have had too. Shall we move on to the next segment? Yeah,
the final segment. Yeah,
which is the bad dad joke of the week. All right then, Henry, are you ready for this?
Let's do it.
Okay. Why did the coffee file a police report?
I don't know. Why did the coffee file a police report?
It got mugged. Oh my God.
I should have seen that coming. I expected it to be something, I don't know.
The coffee got mugged. Brilliant. Yeah, brilliant,
classic.
Bad, awful, horrible, but at the same time, brilliant. And that's what dad jokes are. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the podcast this week. Hopefully we've fleshed it out thoroughly, so you enjoyed it. Despite the circumstances in which we find ourselves, we haven't even seen face-to-face for a whole week now because we're in isolation. So, we're just doing the best we can with the tools we have in front of us. So hopefully you enjoy the podcast. And like I said, join us on the Patreon Discord if you want to support the channel, patreon.com/prettygoodgaming. If you watch this far into the podcast, then surely you appreciate our incoherent ramblings more than most, and you are most likely then to want to support and hear more of this in future. And if you do, go to patreon.com. You get early access to this podcast in future, a couple of days early for the patrons, as well as some awesome, get to play with us on Discord. If you want to join in the multiplayer game, the Discord community is gearing up for some multiplayer sessions in future, so you can come and join us on that too and ask questions in the podcast. So there you go, all the other rewards. So that is it for this week. On behalf of Henry and myself, we will see you again in the next video, or the next time you see us, and until then, bye for now.